Welcome to About the Winelands. In this show, we will be chatting to leaders, influencers, wine producers, restaurants, and other role players. Tune in every week for our latest episode. You will find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram TV, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. Hi everyone, and welcome back to About the Winelands. Today I'm talking to Emma Bruwer. Emma is the winemaker at Lude in Franschhoek. Hi Emma, welcome to About the Winelands.
Hi Will, thanks for having us.
No, thank you so much for spending time to actually do this, and I think our listeners will appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we were just trying to get back into it. It's been a quiet couple of months, but we've got a lot of catching up to do here in the cellar.
So Emma, can you, before we start with your winery and everything, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get into the wine industry?
Well, it's quite easy for me though. I was born into it, if I can say that. I was born in Robertson. My parents own a wine farm there, so for me it was sort of a no-brainer to come this way, and I've really enjoyed after varsity to explore a lot of different areas and places, and I've done some time overseas too. And I was doing a harvest at Lude in 2017, and I quite enjoyed the process of bubbly making, and it's what I fell in love with.
Oh, that's awesome. Can you, so have you been at Lude? Is that your whole wine journey? Have you been there in your life?
Just about. I graduated in 2015, so I've done a harvest at Jordan Estate in Stellenbosch, and then I spent some time harvesting in California and in New Zealand. And other than that, it's been the Lude, really.
Wow, that's amazing. So can you give us, our listeners, a bit of a history on the Lude and what you guys are doing there?
Yeah, sure. It's quite I think a different story, if you can say it like that. Our owners are from Oudtshoorn, and they've worked with guest houses and hotels and things, mostly on that side, and in Cape Town a little bit too. And they always wanted to create a place that was this experience that they had when they were in France a couple of years ago, drinking champagne in the beautiful rose gardens. And that happened at Chateau Le Lude, which is actually in the Loire Valley. But that whole feeling of really enjoying where you are and really enjoying that experience is what had them create Le Lude. So they bought the farm in 2010 and completely renovated it, planted the grapes here, and turned it into what it is today. So we only produce Cap Classique here. We specialize in it, and started very small in 2012. And currently we're producing 100,000 bottles a year.
So that's all you do? You only make Cap Classique?
You make it sound so simple, but yes, it's something, so much focus and so much time actually that I don't actually know how anyone does everything else.
Well, you know, it's quite unique because most of our wineries in South Africa, you know, make a range of things, but I think, you know, there is definitely something to say for a focused effort.
Yeah, there's so much time that it takes, and for us, we're a small estate. The farm itself is only 3 hectares, or 3 hectares under 9. We're buying in a lot of grapes for our harvest, but we do all of our own labeling, all of our own degorgements and bottling. So we need to degorge at least twice a week, 2 days a week, to keep up with the demand. So it's a full-time job.
Oh, that's amazing. So your actually style of making bubbly, if I can call it that way, are you very traditional? Are you using any new technology methods? How do you do this?
I'd like to say that we are quite traditional. We're traditional in the style or the philosophies, if we can say so. Champagne does go through malolactic fermentation when it's done traditionally, and also in the UK and a lot of the Northern Hemisphere areas. But we stay away from that. For us, South Africa struggles a bit with acidity. It is a much warmer climate and a much warmer harvest, if we can say that. So we've got a very low acidity to start with, and we feel that sometimes with malolactic it becomes a little bit slow. We want a wine that's really zesty and very linear and you know, almost tight and lean over your palate, and something that's very clean and crisp. And for us, bubbly should be refreshing, and it should be vibrant on your palate.
Well, I was wondering about that because, you know, if you look at Franschhoek's weather, Franschhoek and Stellenbosch has more the Provence type weather, and not really the traditional Champagne, Rhône, that area weather that you have in France. So it is a bit warmer, right? I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, very much. And we, as I said, we buy in quite a bit of grapes. A lot of them coming from Robertson and Bonnievale area also, where you have quite a different climate for it. And a lot of the Cap Classique producers can agree with me on this, is that a lot of people buying in from Robertson, not only because of the limestone soils, but also because they have a great daytime nighttime difference during the growing seasons. So even on a hot sunny day when it's about 36 degrees Celsius, it will cool down to about 15 18 at night, which is a big difference. Where in Franschhoek, I don't know if you've ever spent a summer in Stellenbosch or Franschhoek, but when it's 36 during the day, your nighttime is probably 32.
I'm a Stellenbosch boy, so I understand perfectly what you talk. It's not called Stellenbosch for nothing.
Exactly. There's no relief from it, and the vine feels this too. So when it's got a cool night to recover from the hot day, it manages to recuperate. You almost have a slower ripening time, and this gives you a much better acidity to your grapes and a much better clarity almost. In the Franschhoek grapes and the Stellenbosch grapes that we also buy in, we have a much riper fruit come through in the aromas.
Oh, very, very interesting. Where are your markets? Where do you sell most of your MCC?
Well, we sell most of our the Brut and the Rosé, which is almost our non-vintage everyday drinker. We sell most of that in the Western Cape itself. We mostly do restaurants. We think it is, you know, something it's always going to be going to go down better if you've got a sommelier to tell you a little bit of a story and to explain what makes Lude different or special, and that does really well in a restaurant. Other than that, Woolworths is a very good market for us, and we very partner with them in this way because they work very well alongside our brand.
Yeah, I've seen your brand in Woolworths. Do you do any exports? Because I think that is one of the challenges for MCC, right? Is actually competing in export markets with not only the French but also with Prosecco and the stuff the Spanish are making. It's difficult.
It definitely is difficult. We export a small amount to the UK and to Germany, and we work on the USA and Canada at the moment. We've got a new exporter in Norway that has started this year. So we are getting there. We've only started looking at increasing exports in about 2018 when we were on a vintage that was large enough for us to do that. Until then, we actually just didn't have the stock for it because we started so small in 2012. So, but it is difficult overseas because champagne prices are so cheap in neighboring countries in the EU. So for us to be imported, price-wise, people don't understand Cap Classique, and they're unwilling to give it a try sometimes.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, the tariffs in Europe doesn't help either. There's really no tariffs in the European Union. So the French and Italian MCCs are extremely cheap for people living there. So, and their marketing is quite good. But I think over time, what I'm wondering in the South African market, there could be some really, and also what about the rest of Africa?
The rest of Africa is actually a very good market. We branch out a bit into Botswana and to Kenya with some of our exporters, and we're trying to get it a little bit bigger. It's that for us is easier than overseas, because they like the idea of a South African bubbly, and to getting a little bit more on home soil to try. So it's doing actually very well.
Oh, that's quite interesting. So, how do you see your capacity to grow? I mean, obviously, to grow the vineyards isn't that easy, but your winery itself, do you have excess capacity? Can you buy more? Can you make more bubbly by buying in more grapes?
Currently, our cellar is producing already more than what we had originally planned. So we plan to go up to bottles in total, and we're on 100,000 at the moment. So we are quite full to the brim, if we can say that.
Sorry, Emma, I missed that. How many bottles are you planning to make?
We're doing 100,000 at the moment, and the plan initially was only to do 90,000. So we have surpassed our expectations, and we are quite full downstairs. So our underground maturation cellar is where the problem comes with having space for all these vintages, especially since we're keeping it for quite some time on the lease. So we need space for at least, currently we have about 350,000 bottles downstairs. And if we wanted to increase our production, we would need to be able to carry about 400,000 downstairs.
So the 1st of September is Cap Classique Day, and I mean, this is one of the reasons why we're doing these podcasts. Are you guys planning anything special? Are you planning a celebration? What are you doing for the 1st of September?
We would really have liked to. I think it would have been a great occasion to invite a lot of people to the farm and to have a great almost lunch table in between the vineyards, and really to mark the 1st of spring and the Cap Classique Day. But the way things have been going this year, we just don't think that everyone is very comfortable coming outdoors, and we don't want to push it. So we're just carrying on like normal. I think it's a Tuesday, if I'm right. So it'll be just a normal day of business for us.
Okay, awesome. Tell me, what can people experience on when visiting Lude? How does that work? Do they have to make an appointment? Can they just come? How does,
We actually, for our tasting room, we like to have people just show up if they want, and even if they just want to have a little walk through the garden. We've got lovely rose gardens and a veggie garden on the farm. So we do want, people to feel like Lude is almost part of the family, and they can almost just pop in here. So in the tasting room, which is open currently 6 days a week, usually 7 days a week, they can come for a tasting, some canapes, anytime that they like. No booking is necessary. We also then have the restaurant on the farm, which is called Orangerie at Lude, serving very classic French style cooking with just a little home touch and really generous portions and just good cooking. That is open currently from Wednesday until Sunday for lunch. And that we prefer to have bookings over the weekend. During the week, it's still pretty open for walk-ins. And then the accommodation on the farm, we've got a guest house called Lily Pond, which houses 2 rooms for 4 people total. So either way you book out, if you book for 2 people or for 4 people, you get the whole house, and it's in between our Chardonnay vineyard. So it's really just nice to get away and to come and spend the weekend here on our estate.
Well, that sounds awesome. You mentioned the current situation, and this is true, right? The coronavirus and everything around it has forced everyone to rethink their business models. Do you have any changes or new ideas in mind?
I don't think it's necessarily changes for us. We're trying to, maximize people's experience when they do come out here. So we have a lot of guests traveling from Cape Town or from the garden route or so to come join us for the weekend or just to have lunch even. And I think if people are coming to the farm, then it should be worth more than just a tasting in canapes or a lunch on the estate. So to have the gardens open to the public, to have the wine tasting and the restaurant open, you know, for them to choose what they want to do, I think is more where it's going. And we'd like to have people see us as more of a destination to come to.
Okay, awesome. Actually, do have an online shop. Have you found that this has been growing in the last few months?
Yeah, we have. We've done very well on our online, and we were very happy. We got it out last year already, and so nothing was too difficult for us to get started when we came down to online shopping. And I do think it is, for a lot of people, going to be a way forward. I myself find it hesitating to go to the mall or something if I just want to buy, you know, a pair of jeans. It's a lot easier to just buy things online these days, and it makes you feel a lot more comfortable.
I think the big thing that changes when people start doing online, or as the learned people say, what they call it, direct to consumer is the buzzword of the day, is that you, as a producer of anything, any product, you all of a sudden, instead of whereas when you're selling to a restaurant or a retailer, they are almost your customer, but when you sell direct to the consumer, that the importance of actually communicating with that consumer goes up a notch. How do you guys manage that? How do you actually talk to the guys drinking your product?
Yeah, definitely. I think what everyone has found challenging is to, you know, really to be in contact with the people that are buying your wine, and to make them feel that this is a good purchase and this is a safe purchase. And I think you just need to be honest, and you need to be open with them. So if things are taking long, you need to say that, and you need to, you know, tell them why and fix it for the next time. So we've been very lucky that all of our agents in different provinces has helped us a lot with our deliveries. So we've been able to get deliveries out quite quickly, and people appreciate that. So working quite hard on building those customer relations is just about the most important.
I must say, I mean, I just, in our experience, we're talking to a lot of wineries and stuff. The first lockdown, people actually, when we opened again, the logistics was a bit of a nightmare. People struggled to get the products to customer, but it seems like everyone, and especially the courier companies, got their act together for the second lockdown, and I think that is just the actual whole logistics system for online shopping in South Africa in general. Never mind just wine. I think all products is going to be so much more smooth, because, like you say, you know. I myself, I'd love to order something online. I mean, from the supermarkets now, I think Pick n Pay and Checkers, you can now get same-day deliveries on groceries. So I think that is just going to be the way forward. And for a producer like yourself, it's definitely an avenue to pursue. Yeah, that's just my thoughts on that.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone's just trying to increase their how good their tracking is, really, because a customer doesn't want to wait 3 days before they hear from you. Even they want to be able to know that their package is being picked up today and being delivered in 2 days' time, and this is where it is currently. So I think that's the most important for us. Also, at the moment, with the ban on sales over the weekend, we're still making use of this. So anyone who wants to is coming for a tasting over the weekend can purchase wine, and we'll deliver it for them the next week.
Well, I think the big advantage of doing this is that you actually know exactly who's buying your product, which is something important over time. You can actually track it, like you say, and obviously you can then also sell stuff to them again, or communicate with those guys, which is something that you don't know if somebody's buying your product necessarily in Woolworths or in a restaurant, but you do know if they buy it from you directly, who they are.
Yeah, true. It's a great database that we've started from this, and we hope to get our newsletter rolling out very frequently to all of the new clients that we do have, and to keep people very interested in the farm. There's a lot that goes on here that people don't know about, so it'll be nice to share.
Yeah, I think that is right. So, I mean, your wine journey has been quite interesting, and like you say, you've been born into it. But what is the most important thing you've learned through the years in your wine journey?
I think it's been what I've learned here at Lude, probably in my first harvest, was how important, precision and I want to say cleanliness is. And it is a food product at the end of the day, and that hygiene is important. So we work naturally with our wines, but we also work very precisely. So we're only using the best fractions out of the press, and they must be kept separate from the juice that we aren't too sure of. And if we don't want to use anything, then we won't. So I think you should never use something that you aren't 100% sure of, and your wine should only be made from the best of the best.
That's very interesting. So, Emma, I ask everybody this question, but can you give us your very own wine or MCC quote?
I have one that I've stolen from Paul Gerber, who was the winemaker here at Lude when I started. And I think it's probably the best thing that he taught me, because coming down to degorgements, your dosage is probably the most important factor. So Peter Lim, who wrote a book on champagne, is an American journalist, and he says that dosage is like salt being used in cooking. It's a seasoning that enhances the balance and the flavor of the champagne. And I think it's more true than anything else. Your dosage that you add at your degorgement, you should never taste the sugar in the wine. It's there to enhance flavor and to balance out the flavors in the wine.
If people want to get hold of you, if they want to order your wine or your MCC, or they just want to come book a place, how do they get hold of you guys?
Yeah, anytime. My email address is emma@lelude.co.za, which is probably the easiest way to get hold of anything here on the estate. The admin is info@lelude.co.za, or they can just head onto our website and send us a message from there. We do try and help with anything. So even if you have a question about production or storage or whatever it may be, even if it's mildly related to Cap Classique, please do send us a message and just let us know.
Well, thank you very much. We'll put all the links down in the description. Emma, it's been interesting talking to you, and yeah, I mean, I can't wait to come down and I actually haven't been to your estate, so I can't wait to come and see it. And I think if there's anybody out there, they should actually make a plan, if they can, to come to Franschhoek and come visit Lude. And like I said, I've seen your product in Woolworths, so I'm definitely going to try it. But thank you for spending the time with us, and yeah, we appreciate it, and thank you.
Well, thanks, Will. It's about high time that you get out here then. Franschhoek is livening up again with all the restaurants opening, so it's nice to have feet through the door.
So you say I was wondering about that. How busy was it last weekend?
We've had a full weekend. We had about 40 people for lunch on Sunday, if I may say that. It's close to our 50 mark, but wow. Yeah, we've got outside seating, so on a lovely day, we really can make it quite special.
I think this weekend is going to be busy because it's end of the month. So, and if the weather holds, I think people will come.
Let's hope the weather holds.
Have a great day, and thank you very much for spending the time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Will. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for supporting our show. If you would like to get more exposure for your business, please have a look at our sponsorship options. Thanks again for supporting About the Winelands. Please follow us on YouTube and on our social media channels. All details and links are in the description.